I had $1 for every single time someone had something to say or criticize about me liking my alone time, I would have a lot of dollars. And if you're anything like me and you run into this problem, I get it. It's frustrating to have to constantly feel like you need to explain why you want to have this time alone, or even worse, having to come up with these excuses for why you can't show up to the event or why you don't want to go over to this person's house or whatever it may be, just because you want to have the time for you and you don't have anything important to do. You just want to be alone. I get this. And I happen to think that there's a big power that comes from being in solitude. Sometimes in our society, we shun this and we hear these like negative connotations that come with this, right? But I think that's more in terms of isolation, meaning that if I sat inside an apartment like this all day and kept the curtains, closed, lights off or dim, and just didn't really do anything but sulk and kind of beat myself up for whatever reason. I think that's what people think when they think about solitude or isolation, ones that aren't used to that. However, on the other side, I think that there's a certain power that comes from solitude, and that you're only really able to attain this when you have these moments to be alone, be in the quiet, be reflective. I don't necessarily think that solitude has to be something where you're sitting inside an apartment like this. I think sometimes you can be in solitude, but you can still be out in nature. You can be in a community and doing your own thing in your own quote unquote bubble. So today I want to go ahead and talk about the power of solitude, at least as I see fit. Some things that kind of help me with perspective as I think about this when I move forward. And hopefully this is stuff that can help you out too. So in the spirit of that, I'm going to get out of this apartment today. I'm going to bring my camera and see if we can kind of go out there and just have this quick conversation. See you on this side. Sometimes I think coming out in nature like this is one of the nicest things you can do, just to kind of do a reset for yourself if you're going through something that's tough. Now, this is as quiet as I can get it here because I'm a pretty highly populated area. There's an airplane over my head right now. I hear cars and things all behind me. I walked out here earlier and I saw a coyote. So I'm not completely alone, but I'm as alone as I can be. And this solitude goes a long way, right? And even if you're in a highly populated area, it's hard to get around. Get up early, go to a park, do something nice. Just kind of have moments where you are able to kind of sit there and collect your thoughts. You may run into other people. You may, have other things kind of come up. Like I just walked into a gentleman here probably 20 minutes ago and talked to him for maybe 15, 20 minutes. Just really, really nice guy and such. But I came out here to be myself. But sometimes you find these like serendipitous moments where you're able to just connect with other people and have these like, unplanned waves of positivity that enter your day. And that was a very, very nice gentleman, said some really positive things to me and we had a good conversation. And I think sometimes when we look at solitude and we think it could be a bad thing, but I think it can also be a good thing. And also being in solitude, we'll get outside and be around people and nature and things too, right? So I try to find a park or something that is within somewhat of a drivable distance, go out to it, and even if you spend 20, 30 minutes, that can do a lot for you. Sometimes when you're able to kind of detach from things, get away from your phone, get away from all the technology, watching shows all the time, the pressures around you, stresses with the family or problems at home, whatever it may be, those moments, even if it's, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes here and now, I think that can go a long way for you because we don't take a lot of time these days to kind of just detach and be in the moment and look around and just appreciate the nice things that are in our life. Like this sunrise, I can feel coming over my right shoulder here, right? Like it's not always comfortable getting up in the morning, and I'm not sitting there preaching and saying that, you got to get on that very militant routine, get up at 4 a.m. every day, eat 3-4 raw eggs and just kind of get to the day and do it real tough. Like, I don't think that, but there is something nice about being in an area where there's a lot of people, getting up an hour earlier on your weekend, making a cup of coffee and just getting outside, taking that walk around the block, taking a drive in your car, doing something where you can kind of get outside your bubble, but you can still be within your own bubble. And sometimes within these moments of solitude, like earlier when I ran to this gentleman, I wasn't planning on talking to anybody. I wasn't really planning on kind of interacting with people and such today. But sometimes I think that when you're able to detach, feel a little bit better and have this energy back, people see that energy on you in a good way. And sometimes they feel like you're a lot more approachable and they'll come up to you. So even if you're like, I think a lot of times when I talk to people, they think it's difficult to speak to others and have conversations and communicate. And it is. I think it's like a skill and anything else that can be learned. But sometimes when you put the right energy out there into the world, it comes back to you. And I think I find that to happen a lot more when you're being positive and you really have these moments to yourself. Maybe it's because you're just not looking for it, or maybe because there's something else, a bigger power or something going on. But I think it's worth it to get out there by yourself. It does a lot for your independence, for your creativity, imagination, and self-awareness. We can kind of talk about this a little bit more, break them down, but this sun's kind of getting over me here, so I'm gonna see if I can go find another shot. Be right back. It is so cold right now. At least it is for me. It's like in the 40s. It might as well be snowing out here. Or fingertips don't work. Oh man, it's just definitely cold as hell. Which cold as hell don't really make no sense, does it? It's like, how can you be cold as hell? Just a weird saying we've been saying for a long time, but we just accept it even though it's like a straight up oxymoron. I don't know. I digress. Whatever. All right. So like I was saying before, solitude is something that really can kind of go two ways, right? Like you have your one way where you're essentially like you're shutting yourself within your apartment. You never go into the outside world and it's just you all the time. Or there's like this certain level of solitude where you can take yourself, your thoughts, your ideas, or anything else and go out to the outside world, but still be within your own kind of bubble doing things. This is my preferred way to do it because you don't isolate, but you still have moments to do things that matter to you, right? I think there's a lot of power and things that comes from that when talking about the self-awareness, the creativity, imagination, or anything else within this bubble, right? Like this is how we really tap into this to know what works for us. A lot of times, like we focus on the attention of other people and things that people bring to us instead, right? We're thinking about what does my family think? What does my friends think? What do my coworkers think? And we're like putting the emphasis on their feelings and their thoughts before we put it on ourselves and what matters to us, right? For example, let's say you have an idea of a project or something you want to do and you're super excited about it. You came across this idea on the internet or whatever, and you think this is me and this resonates with me. Then you take this and the first thing you do is you're so excited you can't contain it. You want to go tell somebody. You want to go tell your friends, your family, or someone else that matters to you. And you're expecting this overall wave of support. You're waiting on this big old like pat on the back, like great job figuring that out. That's totally you. And that's all other types of support you can think of. And then what happens is you go tell somebody something and they don't give you a reaction that you want, right? They're kind of like, all right, or yeah, whatever. Or they're questioning what you're doing. They're asking, does this make sense? Are you going to make any money off this? Like, why are you wasting your time doing that? Why are you with this person? Everything else, right? Like if you've heard criticism, you've heard things like this. Now, it's very easy to fold underneath this because you go from your initial excitement to someone's opinion that doesn't really like understand your vision and where you want to go. And they start to shut that down. And then what happens is you internalize those things and you take a step back and you never go through with whatever it was that you were thinking about doing. I think sometimes when you take these moments for solitude, right? Like if you get out here, you're out in nature, you're away from the pressures and such, before you even insert these pressures into your life, take these moments, take a walk, ask yourself the questions that you think other people would maybe ask you because they're probably helpful to learn the information. Really kind of look at your situation and understand this stuff before you get to that point. I'm going to share these things with people because the more in tune you are with yourself, the easier it is for other people to see where you're coming from in your vision too. I'm not saying that that's going to perfectly solve it. And then all of a sudden they're going to be like, well, I'm on board now. Thanks because you did all your due diligence. But it helps to resist these pressures and not let these get to you, because if there's a person that you really like, you want to date, you go tell your family and friends about them, and you don't really know much about them, you just have that initial excitement, they might ask you 20 questions and make you feel bad about your decision. If you want to go start a project or a business about something and you've only kind of done the surface level or just seen the idea, but you haven't asked yourself, like, how much does this cost? What time commitment am I putting in this? Or any other questions, people might look at you a little funny and things too. And I'm not saying that their opinions and such should be the things that stop you. But what I'm saying is that, like, that's where a lot of these concerns and things come from. And also, I think oftentimes people they have their own limitations in life and they put those on you because they think about what they're capable of doing, and they sometimes project that onto you too. But I think in any case, when you take these moments for yourself and you get out there in the solitude and you're away from all these pressures of life, you're able to tap more into your self-awareness and that creativity, your imagination, and all these things that fall underneath. And when you're able to button all this stuff up, you take your excitement and you solidify that so you become like an unbreakable foundation. So if somebody tries to come along and say, okay, I don't know if this is going to work, I don't believe in this, or that's a weird idea, it doesn't shake or rattle you in any way. You just kind of say, okay, you nod and you move past and you keep staying on the path of whatever it is that makes sense for what you want to do. If you don't take these moments of solitude and take these moments to be alone and really kind of reflect and think about your things before you do anything else, this is oftentimes, I think, where you run into problems where people don't give you that pat on the back. They don't give you the confirmation. They don't tell you that what you're doing is a great job or that they can really see it through, because maybe you haven't taken that step first to kind of see it through yourself. I'm too old to be climbing down these rocks like this. If no matter what stage you're in, what you're going through, it doesn't matter. Taking that time to be alone and really kind of reflect and take inventory of what's going on in your life is the first step to making any type of positive change. Most people in life around us, most societal pressures and everything push us on a path of something just like this, right? It's nice, easy, smooth, paved. You know exactly where point A is and where point B is. There's no real surprises, at least not big ones that people haven't come through before. But if you're a person that wants just anything a little bit more for yourself in your life, sometimes you got to do something like step off on the rough, a little bit more gravel, some more obstacles and things in your way. They're going to make your path a little bit more difficult, at least to start. However, that tends to open up other paths in your lives. And if you're not happy with things that are going on right now, that's the best way to change it. Take some moments to be alone, be away from pressures, people, problems as much as you can be. It doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes or an hour. Everybody has a different time in their day that they can spare. Start off with things like this, and before you know it, I have no doubt to think that you're going to be in a place where you don't have to take this smooth path if it's something that doesn't serve you and your best interest for what you want in your life. Tap into your imagination, your creativity, self-awareness, and everything else that comes with this. Step off on the unbeaten path, and you never know where that may take you. It could take you out of a bad situation. It could take you from a good situation to a great situation. But one thing it's probably going to do is going to open up a lot more avenues for you in your life. I hope this helped. If it did, drop me a comment below. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'm going to see y'all here in the next one. Take care for now. Peace.